What's going on, everybody? Coach Sean here, and today we're going to talk about the overhead press, and specifically the starting position. So I'm going to get into the starting position for my kettlebell clean. I'm going to clean that kettlebell up into what we would call the rack position. Now, a couple things I want you to pay attention to here. Number one, my elbow directly under the fist. That's going to be very important when we go to that pressing motion. The other thing is my wrist. It's in what we would call the gooseneck position. I don't want that wrist to break. That's when things are going to become really unstable with that kettlebell as I press. I want to keep it in that nice gooseneck position. From there, I would squeeze that off fist, press, fire that bell up. But we'll talk more about that in just a second. All right, we talked about our starting position in the rack position. Well, let's talk about our finishing position up at the top here. So again, I'm going to clean my kettlebell into that rack position. I'm going to press up into what I'm going to call the finishing position. Now, a couple things I want you to notice here. My elbow locked out, nice and straight. It's not bent. Bell's not out in front. I want to keep that elbow locked and that arm in as straight a position as I can hold it in. Another thing to pay attention to is my shoulder. Notice I'm not pressing that shoulder up as I'm at the top. I'm keeping that shoulder down, or what we would call packed, and that's going to be important at the top as well. Next up, we'll talk about our breathing and how we're going to combine that starting position with that finishing position. All right, we talked about the kettlebell in the rack position, or our starting position. We talked about the arm nice and straight, or that finishing position. But what I want to talk about now is the breathing and how we're going to get from the starting position to the finishing position, back to that starting position with as much tension as possible, so I'm ready for that next press. So again, I'm going to clean the kettlebell up into position. Now, you could be doing something we call a cheat clean. That's in another video. But for now, I'm just going to clean that bell up into position. So we'll call this, again, the starting position in the rack position, elbow underneath that fist. I'm going to squeeze that offhand. That's going to help give me a little bit more tension. And I'm going to breathe out as I press up. Now at the top, if I want to rest, now is when I would rest. I could take a couple more breaths as I'm up at the top. And I'm going to try to keep that elbow locked out the entire time. When I'm ready for my next rep, it's going to be a big breath in. Holding my breath. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. So always I want that breath in and squeezing my lat here to create that tension, almost like I'm compressing a spring. And then I can use that tension to fire that bell up. If I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna take my breath or breathing up at the top. That is your kettlebell overhead press. There's some tips for you. Have a great day, and we will see you soon right here in the gym.